Sunny day, all of our moods are gay. On my way to celebrate the LGBT, which just so happens to be on the corner of Sesame Street. Sesame Street? Although that remix was satirical and created by Uncle KC, it's not far from the truth. I'm sure you're just as confused as I was when I found out Sesame Street had made the courageous transition from education to indoctrination. You know, when I was growing up, there was a level of trust that parents had with television networks. Now, obviously, parents didn't want their young children watching something like MTV in the 90s. I remember when I was in the first, maybe second grade, my dad came home and caught me watching Beavis and Butthead. He didn't want his 7-year-old son running around telling women to pull his finger and wait for a magical surprise. Little did Dad know, 30 years later, women would be on national television playing their boodle flutes and producing that magical surprise themselves. If you don't believe me, just watch an episode of The View. But the point is, back then, parents knew which networks were appropriate for children. They were aware. MTV, VH1, no bueno. Cinemax, HBO, no bueno. But networks like Nickelodeon, Disney, even a network like ESPN, which has always catered more towards adults, ESPN could be trusted in the 90s. You knew your children were safe watching the network that was formerly known as the worldwide leader in sports. Today, it is becoming increasingly difficult for parents to know who to trust with their children. 20 or 30 years ago, if little Winston asked if he can watch a Disney movie, you would say yes with no questions asked. Now, if you allow Winston to watch a Disney movie without parental supervision, you risk him waking up the next morning identifying as Winnie. "Good morning, Mommy! My name is now Winnie the Pooh! Woohoo!" Back in the 90s, little Gomez wouldn't even have to ask parental permission to watch Sesame Street. His dad already knew Gomez was safe with Big Bird. He might even learn his ABCs, the real ABCs, where Q is just another letter in the alphabet, unlike the LGBTs, where each letter represents an orientation. In the case of Q, it represents questioning Quentin, who could be questioning whether he's L or G, or questioning whether he's they or them. Unfortunately, it is no longer safe for young children to watch Sesame Street. Matter of fact, it's important that you actively protect your kids from watching Sesame Street. As always, you don't have to take my word for it. Uncle KC always comes with the proof. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Speaking of protection, let's get to the sponsor for today's video, a company focused on protecting your car, my good friends at Fuel Guys. Let me ask you something. You brush your teeth every day, hopefully multiple times every day, right? I would hope that you also shower twice a day. It's what we do. It's basic maintenance for our hygiene. It's something we do without even having to think about it. So how come we don't treat our car the same way? We pump gas, we drive, and we expect everything to run fine. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works. Fuel today isn't what it used to be. Ethanol blends, carbon buildup, water in your tank. These things take a toll on your engine, which is why I have started using Fuel Guys gas and complete formula diesel treatment. All you do is use an ounce of Fuel Guys treatment for every 10 gallons of gas. Treatment takes care of the rest, keeps your system clean and protected, and it simply makes your engine run better. Look, I know nothing about cars. Outside of pumping gas, I am useless. But applying Fuel Guys treatment is so simple, even I could figure it out. Every time I get gas, I put an ounce or two in my tank, I'm good to go. It is a good habit to form, so click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL25, BTL25. Start taking better care of your car engine today and receive 25% off your first purchase with Fuel Guys. Since Woke Christmas is officially underway, or as deacons at Woke United Methodist prefer to call it, Pride Month. Since Woke Christmas is officially underway, we have started to see the celebrations begin. Throughout the month, I'm sure we will see plenty of pride parades. Of course, identifiers living in certain communities, they won't be celebrating Pride this month due to a lack of funding. Corporations pretending to be woke, they have eliminated the budget for Pride this year. Like we discussed over the weekend, Pride celebrations are short millions of dollars due to formerly woke corporations distancing themselves from Wiener. But even though some celebrations were canceled, that does not mean all celebrations were canceled. The virtue signaling began over the weekend with some organizations displaying their pride. The NHL, for example, the NHL proudly displayed their pride. Hockey is for everyone. I guess it's a decent marketing strategy for the NHL. Hell, they can't get anyone to watch the playoffs, so they might as well market their turd to another demographic. A couple of years ago, when the NHL was embracing the woke wiener, they were receiving mainstream attention for the first time in years, so maybe flaunting their pride is a desperate attempt to be noticed. Some NFL teams have dipped their logos in the rainbow. I haven't seen as many corporations flaunt their pride yet this year. I would assume Bud Light and Target are exercising their right to remain silent. The last time Bud Light and Target flaunted the gay pride, they lost billions of dollars. It has been 2 years. Target still hasn't recovered. When women started boycotting Target in the summer of 2023, their stocks were trading around $150 a share. 2 years later, Target stock is trading for less than $100 a share, which leads us to Sesame Street, because Sesame Street shares a commonality with Target. I don't think most normal people really care about pride celebrations. Would it annoy me if my Saints dipped their logo in the rainbow during the month of June? Yeah, it would annoy me, but am I going to boycott the team over it? No, absolutely not. If there was a pride parade running through the city and adults were having a good time expressing their pride, I wouldn't attend the parade, but if they want to have a parade once a year, who cares? Have a good time. But there's a difference. There's a huge difference. When you start pushing pride onto children, Target learned the hard way. Target was marketing pride to children. Mothers were upset because they would walk into Target and Chad Thundercock would be modeling a tuck-friendly bathing suit. Target learned the hard way that you don't come between a mother and her child. Unfortunately, Sesame Street seems to have overlooked the message. Over the weekend, clips of Sesame Street started circulating on Twitter. Whether these clips are recent or not, I don't know. To be honest with you, it really doesn't matter. In one of the clips, the blue stuffed animal, I think his name is the Cookie Monster, and the little red guy, Elmer. But my name is Elmo!
It doesn't matter what your name is!
Cookie and Elmer were on what appeared to be a set that resembled one of the late-night talk shows. They bring on a guest that's an actual person. It's to do with a full beard wearing a pink shirt. And he's doing his best impersonation of Jackie Mahomes. Watch it for yourself.
Him look just like Jonathan Van Ness.
Cookie Monster, Cookie. That is Jonathan Van Ness.
Elmo, Cookie, are you ready to see my monster piece?
Ready, Jonathan!
Mama Bear, some runway music, please.
Apparently, the person in that segment is some dude named Jonathan Van Ness. According to the website Bustle, John is supposedly famous for being the grooming expert. Interesting choice of words there by Bustle. John is famous for being the grooming expert on something called Queer Eye on Netflix. John is also non-binary and prefers damn near every available pronoun. According to Out Magazine, John prefers he, him, she, her, and they, them pronouns. Basically, John prefers any pronoun besides I, you, and me. Now, was there anything overly egregious with that segment? If this was something on Saturday Night Live, segment would be fine. If this was a comedic segment on The Tonight Show, who cares? But this segment wasn't meant for adults. It was meant for children. And that's where the vast majority of parents have a problem. The purpose of this segment was to normalize behavior. A 5-year-old doesn't know the difference between they and them. What Sesame Street is trying to do is expose children to something that they're not old enough to be exposed to. Hell, they're not old enough to understand. Now, just to be clear, if this segment featured a man and a woman passionately making out, I think most parents would object to it. Like I told you earlier, my parents didn't want me watching MTV in the 90s. When I was 7 years old, they didn't want me watching Boys to Men videos. They didn't want me watching Guns N' Roses or listening to Tupac. The media wants to make this an issue about inclusion. If you have a problem with this segment on Sesame Street, the media wants to label you homophobic. But this is not about homophobia. It's about what's appropriate for kids. The thing is, why would Sesame Street feel the need to do this? Why would they target children with this kind of segment? If you teach a child at 5, you don't have to worry about changing that child's mind at 35. It's about indoctrinating a generation. It's about normalizing what was previously considered abnormal, for lack of a better word. The good news is, it's up to parents to decide whether their child will be indoctrinated, but the parents got to be paying attention. Give me your thoughts on this. Sesame Street produces a segment with Jonathan Van Ness celebrating Pride. Apparently, Sesame Street has been doing this for years now. I remember back during the COVID, they were preaching the importance of masks to children who can't even apply a mask. Why? Why is Sesame Street doing this? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.